Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools.
Senator John Kennedy takes direct aim at Ilhan Omar, blasting her anti-American rhetoric and radical policies. In this video, I break down his fiery remarks, expose Omar's hypocrisy, and explain why her agenda is a direct threat to America's future.
They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is...
All right, guys, let's set the stage. Senator John Kennedy isn't holding back. He looks right at the Squad Ilhan Omar, Awok, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Presley, and calls them out as fools. His words cut deep. They hate America. He's done playing nice. Kennedy says what millions think, but are too afraid to say that these radicals see the nation as wicked instead of grateful. This moment isn't politics. It's a declaration of war against anti-American rhetoric, hypocrisy, and division.
America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the Squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I...
Listen up. Kennedy's message hits like a hammer. He says America's enemies aren't always abroad. Sometimes they sit in Congress. Omar and her allies call this country racist and evil. Yet they thrive off its freedom and power. Kennedy's not having it. He argues they should thank America, not curse it. From socialism to open borders, their policies threaten the very values that built this nation. Kennedy warns, if you love chaos more than country, don't expect silence in return.
I meant, if you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment. And according to your website, you're also, I'm going to quote here, a longtime Democratic Party activist who served as a member of the 2016 Democratic National Convention's Platform Standing Committee, close quote. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You support Hamas, do you not?
Senator, oddly enough, I'm going to say thank you for that question because it demonstrates the purpose of our hearing today in a very effective way.
Let's start first with a yes or no.
Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization that I do not support, but you asking the executive director of the Arab American Institute that question very much puts the focus on the issue of hate in our country.
Well, I got your answer, and I appreciate it. What is the
Now here's where it gets intense. Kennedy takes the gloves off during a Senate hearing, grilling a Democratic witness about ties to Hamas and Hezbollah. The tension, electric. He demands straight answers, no spin, no politics. Each question exposes the uncomfortable truth about double standards in Washington. The witness dodges, deflects, and dances around the facts, but Kennedy stays locked in. It's not just about terrorism, it's about accountability, truth, and loyalty to America first.
Support Hezbollah too, don't you?
Again, I find this line of questioning extraordinarily disappointing,
Is that a
Senator.
no?
That
Or
have
yes?
you have Arab American constituents that you represent
is
in
that
your great state.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, but my time's limited, and I apologize, but is that a yes or a no?
A yes or no question to do I support Hezbollah? The answer is I don't support violence, whether it's Hezbollah, Hamas, or any other entity that invokes
You
it.
can't
So
bring
no,
yourself to say no, can you?
No, I can say no. I can say yes.
But
What
you
I can
haven't.
say is
You just
your
can't
line
make
of
yourself do
questioning.
it. Do you
Senator.
support or oppose Iran and their hatred of Jews?
Again, I'm going to emphasize Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, none of them is going to, this
you can't bring
discussion.
yourself to say no, can
Sir,
you?
I don't support.
It's real simple.
Excuse me, I'm going to,
Ian,
if I may, as a Muslim woman, sir, I'm going to tell you I do not support Iran. But what I will tell you is that this conversation.
I'm running out of time. I'm
Okay.
sorry. You called our decision to cut funding. You called our decision to cut fund. Well, first,
All right, pay attention. This is where the mask slips. Kennedy's questions slice through the polished talking points and reveal something deeper, a worldview that excuses violence and attacks American allies. When the witness hesitates to condemn Iran or Hamas outright, Kennedy's frustration explodes. His voice rises, passion blazing. This isn't partisan theater. It's moral clarity. He's saying what many fear too, that too many leaders have forgotten which side they're on.
what's the United Nations Relief and Works Agency?
It's UNRWA, which is the institution that exists to provide services and aid to the nearly 6 million Palestinian refugees.
And you called our decision to cut funding for them, quote, an incredible moral failure, close quote.
That is absolutely correct. But again, I would suggest that conversation is about foreign policy.
We did that because 9 UNRWA staff members were fired for actually helping Hamas on October 7th. Isn't that the case?
I don't believe that that's correct in terms
Let
of...
me ask you one more time. You support Hamas, don't you? You support UNRWA and Hamas, don't you?
Sir,
Please.
I think it's exceptionally disappointing that you're looking at an Arab American witness before you and saying you support Hamas.
You know what's disappointing to me?
I do not support
You can't
Hamas.
bring yourself
I do
to
not
say
support Hamas
You don't
or
support UNRWA. You don't support Hamas. You don't.
I was very
support
clear in my support for UNRWA.
Hezbollah, and you don't
I
support
oppose-
Iran. You should hide your head in a bag.
Senator John Kennedy just laid it all out, and Ilhan Omar was front and center in his crosshairs. Before I get into why Kennedy...
Here's the truth. Ilhan Omar's story should have been one of gratitude. She came to America as a refugee, rose to Congress, and gained a voice heard around the world. But instead of celebrating the opportunity, she uses that voice to tear down the country that gave her everything. Kennedy sees the hypocrisy clearly. She condemns America, yet benefits from it. That's why he says, if you don't like it here, leave. And honestly, that's not cruelty. That's common sense.
These words matter so much. Make sure you like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss my breakdowns of the biggest political fights shaping our future. Kennedy was crystal clear. He sees Omar and her squad allies as fools. And let's be honest, he's right. Time and time again, Ilhan Omar has gone out of her way to tear this country down. She calls America racist, evil, and wicked, yet she sits in Congress, lives off taxpayer dollars, and benefits from the very freedoms she despises. That's the ultimate hypocrisy. Remember, Omar didn't grow up here. She came to America, a nation that gave her safety, opportunity, and a platform to rise all the way to Congress. Millions of people would give anything for the chance she had. But instead of gratitude, she spits venom at the very country that gave her everything. Kennedy is right. She should be thanking America, not slandering it. Kennedy went even further, saying if he didn't know any better, he'd think the squad were GOP plants.
Why?
Because their radical positions, open borders, socialism, higher taxes, abortion on demand, are destroying the Democratic Party from the inside. And let's be real, Ilhan Omar is one of the loudest voices pushing that agenda.
Let's be real. Omar's vision isn't progress. It's destruction. She backs socialism, open borders, and endless division. Kennedy calls her out, warning that her policies are poisoning the Democratic Party from the inside. He even jokes they act like GOP plants because their radicalism drives voters away. But the punchline is serious. This isn't just about politics. It's about preserving the nation's soul. Kennedy makes it clear, America's future can't survive under leaders who despise its foundation.
She wants to tear down our borders, defund the police, and weaken our national security. She openly trashes Israel, our closest ally in the Middle East, and sides with policies that embolden our enemies. That's not leadership. That's sabotage. And when President Trump said, if you don't like America, you're free to leave, Kennedy backed him up. And so do I. That's not cruelty. It's common sense. If Omar despises this country so much, if she thinks it's such a rotten place, then why stay? Nobody's forcing her. Millions of people around the world are dying to come here because they know what America represents: freedom, opportunity, and the chance to build a better life. If Omar can't see that, that's her problem. Kennedy also hit on merit and fairness when questioning a legal nominee, and this matters because Omar and her allies constantly divide Americans by race, gender, and identity politics. They don't believe in merit. They believe in quotas and victimhood. But America was built on merit. You work hard, you earn your place, and you prove your worth. That's how this nation became the greatest on earth, not by tearing people down and calling everything racist. Let's be clear, Ilhan Omar isn't just out of touch. She's dangerous. She doesn't just hate conservative policies, she hates the very foundation of America. Kennedy exposed that truth, and it's about time more Republicans step up and do the same. Because if we let her radical agenda continue unchecked, it's not just the Democratic Party that loses, it's the entire country.
And here's the bottom line. Folks, Kennedy fired the shot heard across Washington. He called Omar a fool, and he meant every word. Her agenda isn't patriotic. It's poisonous. Her rhetoric doesn't unite, it divides. Kennedy's challenge is a wake-up call to every American who still believes in freedom, merit, and the rule of law. If patriots stay loud and proud, radicals like Omar won't stand a chance. So hit that like button, share this message, and never back down. America first, always.